You don't have to change your personality in order to change the impact of your communication. It seems illogical because it seems like we have to have the right words in order to communicate effectively. But actually, we have to have the right internal state, which I think is super liberating because I don't have to have the right words. I just have to be able to recognize my survival response when it's active and calm it down and then speak. I'm Dr. Annie Campanile, trauma survivor and professional coach. And today I'm sharing the 90-second reset technique that will help you have better conversations with your boss, your partner, and yes, even your kids. This isn't about memorizing the right words. It's about something much deeper. So let's get started. Welcome to Heal Your Trauma, Find Your Voice, the podcast for trauma survivors ready to break free from people-pleasing and self-doubt. I'm Dr. Annie Campanile, here to help you trust your intuition, communicate clearly, and build relationships that fulfill you. Each week, you'll learn practical tips to heal past wounds and turn surviving into thriving. In today's episode, I'm giving you a quick and powerful tool that can help you be honest without damaging your most important relationships, at home, at work, and everywhere in between. If you're someone who tends to get quiet in order to keep the peace when tensions rise, you might not think of that as damaging your relationships, as compared to if you lashed out with anger. But think about this. What happens inside of you when you withhold your true thoughts and feelings? What happens to your frustration or sadness or anger when you don't express it? If you're like me, those emotions become stronger and stronger until eventually you shut down completely or lose control and erupt with anger at yourself or at someone you care about. Wouldn't it be nice if you could avoid harming yourself and your relationships in just 90 seconds? Well, you can, and it isn't about knowing the right thing to say. Here's what I've learned. When difficult conversations go badly, it's usually not because of what we said, but because of our internal state when we said it. Picture this. Your boss criticizes your work in front of coworkers. Your partner forgets your birthday again. Your child rolls their eyes when you ask them to do something reasonable. What happens in your body as you hear me describe those situations? For most of us, there's an immediate physical reaction as we go into survival mode. Some of us feel heat rushing to our face and neck. Others feel a heavy weight pressing down on our chest or a twisting sensation in our stomach. Your thoughts might race so quickly you can barely grab onto one before another takes its place. And here's the truth. Once these physical reactions of fight, flight, or freeze take over, you've lost the ability to communicate effectively before the conversation has even started. You simply cannot have an authentic connection with your coworker when your body is telling you that something is wrong and you need to protect yourself. So what's the solution? It's a 3-step practice that I teach all of my coaching clients. I call it the 90-second reset. If you give it a try, this simple activity can transform not just individual conversations, but entire relationships. Because in just 90 seconds, you will reset your nervous system from survival mode to connection mode. Here's how the 90-second reset works. Once you notice those physical reactions coming on as tension rises, connect with your body first by placing a hand on your chest and feeling your feet on the floor. This brief moment of connection will interrupt the urgent impulse to react out of anger or fear. Next, breathe deeply. Take 2 or 3 full breaths and notice what's happening in your body. For example, notice how your breath sounds and how your chest rises and falls as the breath enters and exits your body. Giving your attention to any of your 5 senses while you're taking these deep breaths will help your nervous system to calm down even more. And finally, talk to yourself on purpose. What do I mean by that? Well, most of us are talking to ourselves most of the time. Have you ever noticed that? You might even be talking to yourself right now while I'm talking to you. Usually, our internal dialogue happens in the background, and we might not even pay attention to it. When we feel threatened in any way, that internal dialogue becomes negative and reinforces our distrust of the other person. But talking to ourselves on purpose is like a superpower for healthy communication because you choose the thoughts that you want to reinforce. An example of what you might say is, I can speak my truth with kindness. Or, I want to connect with this person, even if we disagree. Or, I'm going to listen to understand their perspective. Can you see how each of those statements calms the nervous system even more because we're reconnecting to our power, to our ability to choose how we're going to engage with this person? Once you've completed the 90-second reset, you can return to the conversation with a calm body, an open heart, and a clear mind. The science behind this is truly fascinating. A brain researcher named Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor discovered that when an emotional reaction first hits our body, we get a rush of adrenaline and cortisol, which spark the urge to act by fighting or escaping the situation. However, that chemical reaction typically only lasts around 90 seconds. That means that our initial survival reaction, that fight or flight response, will naturally begin to calm down in about a minute and a half if we don't keep it going with reactive behaviors or thoughts. So, to recap, the 3 steps of the 90-second reset are: 1. Connect to the body. 2. Breathe deeply. And 3. Talk to yourself on purpose. Usually, I like to share stories about my coaching clients to illustrate what I'm talking about. But today, you get to hear a story directly from a client herself, which is even better. Allie is a nurse practitioner who's put a lot of care into improving her communication skills, mainly by calming her nervous system before talking with her patients and her coworkers. And she's volunteered to let you listen in on a conversation we had recently where she shared what a difference that has made. Let's explore how things used to be in a previous role and how they are now and what's different.
When we first connected, it was because I had 2 colleagues, a nurse practitioner and a medical assistant, that for some reason, I don't even really know the reason why, but the interactions were negative. They were complaining about me. And so I was approached by the manager that she's gotten complaints from these people and that they wanted to help me. And so this coaching opportunity was offered. And I mean, the best opportunity ever. A lot of it, we focused on interactions with those coworkers and how to stay calm and not reactionary. I mean, really stay out of the fight. I'm not a flighter, I'm a fighter.
Yeah.
To stay out of that and just calm the nervous system. But it was like if that person even came near me, the whole body would just feel tense and just ready to arm for a battle with that person, even if they would just wanted to say hi.
Yeah.
Even saying hi felt like an aggressive interaction. Like, oh, well, now I have to say hi to you. What if I don't want to say hi to you?
What do you mean you're saying hi?
I mean, the job was great, but there were definitely personality conflicts that I didn't know how to navigate, and a history of always being told that the way I communicate is negative and just not soft enough.
I think it's really important for those who are listening who've been told you're too direct, you're too abrupt, you need to be more friendly. You don't have to change your personality in order to change the impact of your communication. This is really important because rather than feeling like you have to change your personality or even change your words, if you get curious about what you believe is happening in the moment, like you did, Allie, where when somebody said hello, there was a part of you that thought, well, what do you mean hello? Like distrustful.
Yes.
Our internal dialogue is actually the most important aspect of the impact of our communication. So if my internal dialogue is this person who's coming to say hello to me is not trustworthy or has it out for me, I'm going to be in fight or flight mode when I talk to them. And their nervous system is going to feel that. and then we're going to have conflict. But the same person and the same words can feel different once we resolve that survival response.
It's easy to see like now, but I think when you would say that, it didn't make a whole lot of sense. I mean, how can I be saying the same sentence, right? It's literally one sentence and have my inside feel one way, change how that one sentence is coming across. But it really is true.
Yeah, it seems illogical because it seems like we have to have the right words in order to communicate effectively. But actually, we have to have the right internal state, which I think is super liberating because I don't have to have the right words. I just have to be able to recognize my survival response when it's active and calm it down and then speak. Thank you for doing this. And thanks for being part of the driving force in getting me to finally do a podcast.
Yes, I'm so glad you're doing it. It's great.
The magic of the 90-second reset is in creating the conditions where real, authentic connection becomes possible. From that calmer state, you can address difficult topics while maintaining the relationship. So this week, I invite you to try the 90-second reset when you prepare for a conversation that might be stressful. Here are the 3 steps once more. First, connect to your body by placing a hand on your chest and noticing your feet on the floor. Then, breathe deeply 2 or 3 times. And finally, talk to yourself on purpose by saying something like, I choose to connect with this person even if we disagree. You can pause the conversation and do the 90-second reset anytime you feel yourself going into survival mode. Since our survival brain is always looking for signs of threat, it's really common to be triggered multiple times during a difficult conversation. That's why I love having a practice that only takes 90 seconds. Because the most important conversations deserve your full presence, not your survival response. When you speak from connection rather than protection, you create space for real understanding, and it just feels a whole lot better. Thanks so much for joining me for another episode of Heal Your Trauma, Find Your Voice. If you try the 90-second reset, send me a DM on Instagram at Dr. Annie Campanile and let me know so I can cheer you on. And if you'd like more activities, download my free guide. You'll find it on anniecampanile.com. Next week, I'll reveal what's really going on when you can't stop thinking about work, when your brain keeps spiraling around what you should have done differently and what you should do better next time. We'll talk about how to shut that off so that you can start to untangle your self-worth from your to-do list, close your laptop at the end of the day, and truly enjoy your free time. Until then, I'm Dr. Annie Campanile, reminding you that healing is possible and you don't have to do it alone. See you next week.